And we are live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have the one and only Coach Askey in the building. A coach, a manager, a man of the people. He encourages, he motivates, he promotes, he does what he can, and he's passionate about what he does. He assists fighters like Billy Joe Saunders. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, my brother. Thanks for having me on.
No, no problem, man. Thanks for being on the show. So we have a passionate guy that's on the channel that's training one of the best fighters in the world, the 168-pound champion, Billy Joe Saunders. How's he doing? How's camp going?
Well, yep, camp started. Billy Joe's looking brilliant physically, mentally. Everything around him's perfect. I think we're just waiting on the fight to be officially announced. But I do know they're all started. I'm going to join him in about 2 weeks. So exciting times ahead. Going to be a great fight. Now we're going to see once and for all who is number one. I've been screaming and shouting about Billy Joe Saunders. You can't take nothing away from Canelo. He's a man of the moment, the so-called franchise champ. He is the WBC champ. He just beat Callum Smith. So right now he's on everybody's pound-for-pound number one list. But for me, it's Josh Taylor. I've got to represent them. Josh Taylor there.
Right.
But it is what it is. It's happening. It's happening. So we'll know. 2021, all questions answered.
Hey, do you think picking the fight at the right time meant everything to Billy Joe?
Absolutely. Listen, every boxer wants that fair whip, that fair chance. Every boxer, some could do it for the money, some do it for the final payday, and they cut themselves short because at that elite level, you should have already made money. If you hadn't made money, something's wrong somewhere.
Right.
But Billy Joe Saunders has already got money. It's about legacy. So he's saying, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I genuinely believe I can beat him. Give me a fair whip of the crap. Give me the right training time, and let's have it. Once it's signed, sealed, and agreed, it's on. Let's make it happen. And there's no excuses. May the best man win. Because, everyone will say this, that, the other. I'll blame this, blame that. But listen, they're both going to agree on it. It's going to happen. And 2021, the question will be answered.
I heard that. That great counterpunch, man. Question: how long is enough time for Billy Joe Saunders to be prepared for a guy like Canelo?
Like he says, it's going to be between 6 to 8 weeks, maybe pushing it to 10. But usually that's a case of him making weight. But he's already in fantastic shape now. He's understood. He's got his momentum going. He's just beaten Martin Murray, a proven, champion. He should have been world champion. We didn't get a decision against Martinez, but it is what it is. Billy Joe's one thing that Canelo has over Billy Joe is momentum. Now that Billy Joe's getting a fight, I personally would like Billy Joe to have a fight before that. Have Zach Parker, who's his WBO manager or something like that. But if it's going to be in May, then fair play, it's on. So I'll give Canelo that one thing, got the momentum.
Yeah. Well, could momentum kind of play against Canelo Alvarez because everyone expects him to do certain things against a particular fighter, and then it might go to his head a little bit? What do you think?
Well, I'm sure he's looked into this, but you're talking, and I'm not trying to accuse anyone of taking Mexican beef or whatever, but your mind or your yes men or the people around you will always say to you, yes, 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 you can do it, you can do this. I remember Adrian Broner said, you want to stay away from Billy Joe Saunders. Those in boxing know a boxer's intelligence. Now, Billy Joe Saunders is right up there when it comes to boxing intelligence. So
Right.
if he thinks that, he's either underestimating Billy Joe Saunders, just like Klitschko did with Tyson Fury, just like Wilder did with Tyson Fury, thinking that he was inactive. Now's the time to catch him. See, Canelo's probably thinking, like you say, that I can catch Billy Joe because the momentum ain't all that. He probably struggled to make weight, which he isn't, and I'll catch him now. Not understanding that certain greats, most greats, rise to the occasion. It's always at the biggest stage is the better performance. You've seen it. Look at Muhammad Ali when he fought Sonny Liston. The bigger the occasion, the better he performs. Rumble in the Jungle with Foreman, he performed.
Right.
With the lesser fights, who don't perform. Look at Tyson Fury. You're talking when he had his return, wasn't really good. When he had Schwartz, was getting better. But everyone didn't think he was 100%. But when he fought Wilder, 100%. Look at Billy Joe Saunders. When he fought you beat him. When he fought Ryder, he beat him. When he had unknown certain fighters, faded. But then when he went to Canada and he fought Lemoon, and it was a masterclass of performance.
Right. I was very impressed with that. Very impressed with that performance.
The tougher the occasion, the better they perform. I've seen it with Josh Taylor. I've seen it with Tyson Fury. And I've seen it with Billy Joe Saunders. It is what it is. Now, what Canelo's got to understand, a lot of boxers show him a lot of respect. Billy Joe won't show him any respect. He's the man that he believes 100% that he can beat. It's going to be a fight.
Well, he won't show him any respect. So, in other words, let's go back. Backstory. Do you guys remember? Do you recall how Abel Sanchez was able to get up under Canelo's skin by, talking at him, get him revved up, pissing him off? Do you think Billy Joe's going to go that route? I mean, that's, he has a mouthpiece on him anyway. What do you think he's going to do to not show him respect?
Listen, he understands. Billy Joe will tell him exactly what he thinks. But Billy Joe Saunders understands. We're talking Canelo's second home, Vegas, on probably Mexican Independence Day, where he's seen the fights of where Lara kicked the shit out of Canelo when he was robbed and denied, when Triple G kicked the shit out of Canelo when he was denied in the first fight. So Billy Joe understands. The talk don't mean nothing. Why? A lot of people. Oh, it's up to you. Can I explain why I believe so?
Absolutely. Shoot.
Okay. People think Canelo is on a great momentum. He's got better since losing to Mayweather. Agree? Many people think that.
Many people feel you're breaking up. What was it? What was that?
So many people think Canelo he's got so much better since losing to Mayweather. It's a new, improved Canelo. Now let me ask you this question: who has he beat at peak since that fight? Don't tell me Jacobs. Don't tell me Triple G. Triple G beat him. But
yeah, Triple G wasn't in his prime though.
Exactly. Even Lara. What did Lara do to him? It was a nightmare for him. The southpaw. Now, I'm talking about the first fight. The first Triple G fight was Troy Graham. I'm on about the first Triple G fight versus Canelo. That's the fight I'm talking about, where I believe Triple G won. But it doesn't matter what we think, but the decision was given to Canelo. So you got to respect that. But I'm talking from an analysis point of view. Now I'm talking about, look what Amir Khan, who was way past his peak, was absolutely pinging him off until he got careless and he got banged out. We all know Canelo can bang. But you've got to look at somebody that's not even hit his peak yet. Billy Joe Saunders won't break that stat. He won't break that position. He'll be so on form, so on point. And who's the best southpaw out there? That's Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders will be an absolute nightmare. There'll be no excuse. It'll be the best Canelo versus the best Billy Joe Saunders.
Well, that's it. Canelo did fight a lot of people past their prime. He didn't fight Kovalev like Andre Ward, so he doesn't really get the credit. I mean, for me. But overall, Canelo did have a good performance against Callum Smith. But of course,
okay, stop. Let's pause right there. You've mentioned Callum Smith.
Right.
Did you watch the Callum Smith versus Ryder fight?
I did.
Okay. What was your opinion?
I think it was a close fight. I think he let a lot of rounds edge him by because of the aggressiveness of Ryder fighting his fight.
Did you watch Billy Joe Saunders versus Ryder?
I did not.
Well, Billy Joe Saunders beat him. Now, Callum Smith obviously shown that he cannot handle southpaws. So people think Callum Smith was rising. I believe he was actually declining in his career. If you look at his, apart from the prize fight at the Muhammad Ali Super Series, you can see that Callum Smith was struggling to make super middle. He's not a super middle. So you can see he was declining in his performance. So if people want to take away beating Callum Smith as an amazing achievement, I don't think so. Again, I'll always go back to what I'm saying. Who at peak was Canelo beat? But you can't take nothing away from whoever's been put in front of you. You can't. He's beat him. He's done what he needs to do. But come May, we'll see. No more excuses. It's on.
Well, with the right time and the right place, undefeated fighter.
Can I ask this, Mr. Perez? Mr. Perez, you've wrote Joe Saunders hasn't beat anyone with a big name. That's my point. He's the man that they're all avoiding. Billy Joe's been very vocal. Andre, Triple G, Canelo, you name it. He's been calling them out. Billy Joe Saunders is the man. High risk, low reward. This is how they saw it. So it's not a case of anybody. Billy Joe hasn't beat anyone with a big name. Well, yes, he has. He's beaten whoever's been put in front of him. Unlike Canelo, who's been beaten. Once cracked, always cracked. Once smashed, always smashed. Billy Joe Saunders, unbeaten. And he'll be unbeatable. He's that good. And he will beat Canelo. But don't take my word for it. Let's all see on Fight Night. And the day after, we'll come back on this channel and we'll talk about it. May the best man win.
That's going to be a good fight. And that's the best fight that you could possibly make. Did you see the Caleb versus Caleb fight yesterday? Did you see Truax versus Plant yesterday?
I didn't see it, but I read it, and I could see people jumping up and down saying Plant should fight Billy Joe before it. But listen, you can't take nothing away from Plant, a brilliant boxer. And again, people will say it's all about he's not experienced enough. Well, again, real kings rise to the occasion. So I can't say nothing against Plant because so far he's doing the business. And I expect him to win yesterday, even though I've not watched the fight, so I can't really comment too much.
Next question. It says, didn't I say bully, but I think they meant Billy. I think Troy meant Billy. Didn't Billy turn down the Triple G fight? Huh.
No, he never. Billy Joe Saunders wants the Triple G fight.
Okay. Well, with Triple G, he has the right time. I think he has the right style. I do agree with you that I think Lara beat him. He beat him. Yes. He just wasn't a star. He didn't have the money. He was an avoided fighter in his weight class himself. So
can I also say how this boxing works? When you have a fight against one of their own superstars, you sign a minimum of 2-fight deal. In case the champion loses, they've got a rematch clause. They knew Lara beat his ass, but they didn't want the rematch. They just brushed him aside because they had him in contract, and they took away the limelight and then made him fade away. Take away the threat. And I thought that was disgusting. The man deserved a rematch, and it was disgusting how they use super talents like that. So obviously, listen, I understand boxing is a business. I understand it's all about pay-per-view revenue. I understand that Canelo is a massive draw. But let's be honest, Lara whooped his ass. Now, if he's a man to live with that, fair play. But I couldn't live with that, knowing that if I'm proclaiming to be the best in the world and a man's giving me a tough fight like that, I want a rematch. But that's just me.
Well, would you want Canelo to fight someone like Lara now?
No, because Lara's past it. He's the best of Lara's gone. They took away that momentum, and you know what? Fair play to Lara, because real recognize real. I recognize him as a true king. He's a king, proven king. And like you says, the politics and the money and the corruption has faded out a great man like Lara. Take that man and salute him. You know what? Fair play to the man.
I absolutely agree. There's nothing to counter if the punch has already been punched and made and landed and scored, and it has. Jack McLeod with a counter. He says Andy Lee, Lemieux, Ryder, Eubank Jr., and Murray, who admitted was way past his best, but this is someone who Prime Golovkin couldn't pin down and drop, got robbed against Martinez and Abram.
Hold on, who couldn't Who couldn't Triple G drop?
Golovkin couldn't pin down and drop, then got robbed against Martinez and Abraham. Well, Martinez, that has to be Martin Murray, because Martin Murray was robbed.
He got locked.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. But you know what it is? All I'm saying to everybody is we can all make excuses. We can all have our points. But I'm saying, for my reasons, people can say that Canelo has increased in his performances. No, he hasn't. You always look at the opposition. You always look at the protector. Listen, it's a business. He just signed a massive deal then with DAZN. They're not going to put people that are going to jeopardize a $300 million contract. No chance.
Right.
They'll give you a name. They'll give you a name that you can look good, fight good. Because remember, we're not dealing with boxing experts. Boxing experts are like a virus to the boxing casuals. It's a business now. It's like people talking about the WBA belt, how they don't really recognize it now. Why? Because all these promotional alphabetical belts, it builds the business of boxing. Does that make sense?
Right. You follow the money.
Well, the casuals follow the money. I'm talking for me as a boxing man. I want to see the best fight the best. Best v the best. That's what catches my attention. It's not going to interest me. I'm not going to go out my way knowing like this person's going to beat that person. It's standard, expected. But with with Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders, it's the best v the best. Let's see. There's no excuses.
So, on a percentage, how much you think, or what chance do you think that Billy Joe Saunders has of winning an actual decision against Canelo Alvarez?
70 to 80%.
That he can win a decision.
He will win a decision. Oh, forget the corruption. I'm on about from the boxing, the real boxing people's point of view. Whether the judges give him the dodgy decision, I don't know. Because in wherever sometimes you need to knock him out to get a draw. That's the way it is. And how many times has this been proven?
Okay. Andre Rodriguez, he says, what kind of adjustments can Billy Joe Saunders gain to defeat Canelo on points?
Just stick to the game plan. Don't be greedy. Exactly what. Look at Amir Khan's fight. Amir Khan was absolutely pinging him. And people can say whatever they want about Amir Khan. But Amir Khan was absolutely winning on point. He was way ahead. But he got careless. And this is where good corner team and brilliant mindset shows stick to the game plan. Don't get greedy and outbox him. School him. Stick to what you're good at. Stick to what got you there in the first place. Stick to that, you won't have a problem. Don't fight his fight, fight your fight.
Yeah, he got caught with a massive right, and that was a good night. Very good night.
Got careless. And you listen, Canelo is a very, very strong, dangerous man. You can't disrespect a man of his caliber. But I'm saying if there's a man that can, it's Billy Joe Saunders.
You know, the beard. What would you rate the beard of Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe?
The what?
The beard, the chin.
Listen, Billy Joe Saunders has proven time and time again he's got a granite chin. But we're not going to rely. Listen, Canelo, you're going to have to get a tank to fucking even the tank won't knock him out. So forget looking to knock him out. Listen, you got to be honest. But you can razzle, dazzle, and skill him. And Canelo gets frustrated. Now you go all the way back to the Mayweather. If you look at Mayweather, look at his feet. He stuck it in a simple formula. Hit, slip, hit, step back. That's all he did. Reset himself each time. As boring as it was working. He didn't need to do no more, no less. And you can see Canelo changing the game plan. Now, you stick to ideas like that, you got nothing to worry about. If Canelo gets frustrated and goes for the kill, it's better for Billy Joe Saunders. Because you see what he did in Canada against the Moon, he was perfect, on his feet. Once Billy Joe Saunders, 100% Billy Joe Saunders, beat 100% Canelo.
I have to say that was probably the best performance I've seen Billy Joe Saunders have. by far in the last 5 years when he went to Canada in the backyard in Canada and schooled Lemieux. Because everybody thought Lemieux was just going to land that one shot like he did with Stevenson and, and other fighters, and he's able to knock him out.
But it's a great saying in boxing that the hands can't hit what the eyes can't see.
There you go. Courtney Kettle, do you think Canelo's team will make Billy Joe Saunders fight him in a smaller ring to hinder his movement? The A side versus everything else.
Listen, in boxing, everybody will look for that slight edge. We had it with Deontay Wilder. We had it with the Klitschko's. We've seen it all happen. But it's for Billy Joe's team to make sure that doesn't happen. You make sure you negotiate what's best for you. It's like when Klitschko fought Tyson and Klitschko's thought they could hold us to ransom, saying, look, if it's not like this, the fight's off. And we were like, well, fine, fight's off, let's go. If it's not 100%, you got to be prepared to walk away. Then you can't call you. Don't have to bluff you.
Major Key Boxing, are you applying for the visa already to avoid delays? Because we had Manuel Char. He had problems getting over to Florida, and he missed out on his opportunity and got stripped of the WBA regular. So to avoid that.
It's a very sore subject, that, because I actually got refused from America. I've been in America twice, and they refused me. They revoked my visa.
How come?
Don't know. Someone must have called and said something. I went to the embassy. They checked my record. My record was clean. They still saying, look, somebody's obviously called in and said something. And they just says, oh, you went over for a work visa. They made up so many excuses, but they didn't give me a specific. Me personally, I think it was solely because when I went in there with Tyson, we did a prayer, an Islamic prayer in Vegas. People don't want you to go to Sin City and pray. It's called Sin City for a reason, to commit sin, not to pray.
Right.
And I think that's why I've been punished. But listen, whatever the reason, if I'm there, if I'm not there, Billy Joe Saunders will be there, the team will be there, and Canelo will get beat. Oh.
Nice. And your connection to Tyson Fury, can you Sure.
Listen, you talk about Canelo's links with the judges. Listen, in boxing, it's about who you know, not what you know. No, if he's got judges in his pockets, that's the way it is. That's his connections. So what do you do to overcome all that? You give them a beating of a lifetime. Let the millions across the world, make the millions across the world witness it. You make him quit. You beat him that bad that he quits. So I don't have to go to the judges. Was it Quan Big Guns? I will bet 10K on Canelo by KO. Right, okay, Quan. Now I'm gonna hold you to this now, yeah? No, Mr. Big Balls Quan, yeah? And excuse the language. Oh, sorry, Mr. Big Guns. You're that confident for this 10K. I tell you what, put your 10K down. I don't need to put nothing down. You're that confident. If your boy beats Canelo, if my boy beats Canelo, give me 10 grand. Give it to Kurt. You know what? Give it to Kurt, and let's just boost him for what he does. Let's just appreciate what he does.
Hey,
if you're not
can't argue with that.
To lose.
Great counterpunch. I can't argue with that at all. And that shows confidence in the frame, in the every sense of the word. PLC. Okay, he wants to know your resume, Coach Askey.
Okay. Do you want me to start from grassroots or do you want me to start from the pro level?
Wherever you feel like starting.
Okay, at grassroots amateur level, I've created over 50 plus champions, national, international champions. At professional, I've been part of the WBC, WBA, IBF, IBO, ring belt, lineal. At heavyweight with Tyson Fury, I've been with Billy Joe Saunders, super middleweight. I've been with Josh Taylor, the IBF, the WBA, the WBC, you name it. I've worked with Grace, Eddie Chambers, who's from the US. I've worked with, you name it, I've done it. I've been there. I've worked alongside Ricky Hatton. I've helped, we've done the corners together. I've done the corners with Abel Sanchez. I've done the corners with, who else is in America? Ben Davison, who I work with, assist with. Peter Fury, world champion trainer. Who else is there? I don't know who to say. You name it, I've done it. I don't know what to say. And I'm not trying to say that, I'm not name calling, but I've worked with guys who happen to be the very, very best in the game. But I was with these guys before they were very best in the game. It's not a case of I've just jumped in on this. Before Tyson was Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. He was a guy that was just coming to the gym, a young eager boxer that was saying, I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world. So I've worked with guys from the very grassroots to the very, very top, in all over the world.
So you work with Tyson Fury. When was the last time you worked with Tyson?
Was in America when he was in Schwartz.
Oh, okay, cool. So that was 2018. So you worked with his corner in the Schwartz fight.
Which one was it? Was it Deontay Wilder before or after? No, Deontay was before that. Sorry.
Yeah. The first fight was before the Schwartz fight. That was the next fight, the Schwartz fight.
My last corner I've worked with Tyson was the Schwartz. And that's simply because of my visa. They revoked my visa, and Tyson was based in America. So it just didn't happen. Tyson then departed. Him and Ben Davison went different ways. Sugar Hill, who then joined Tyson, had his own team. So that was the last time I've worked with Tyson.
In the Tom Schwartz fight?
Yeah. Well, I was in regular talks with him up until when he beat Wilder the second time. I was obviously liaising with the team. Obviously, we're sharing ideas and game plans, tactics, what I would normally do when I was there. I was in constant talks with Christian. So everything was there. Everything was still there. Still talk to Tyson today, but I can't get into America for whatever reasons. And hopefully things can get sorted.
So you worked with Tyson Fury basically around the time when you had a fighter, a sparring partner by the name of Nicholas Asbury. And I know this guy has came on several platforms talking about Tyson Fury cheated him. He took shit out of the gloves. He took cushion or whatever out of the gloves. And what do you say to that?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something about this, yeah? I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you, so these people that chat so much shit and slander Tyson's name, it's me that prepares the gloves. Me prepares everything. I've got the videos, and I'm going to show you pictures of us when I prepare everything. Oh, let me get to it. What year was it? So these people that chat all this shit and say Tyson did this, that, the other, they've got to live with this. You can't wrong a man that's never done wrong. Let me look for these pictures. 1 second, mates. Oh, gosh. Hold on. What year was it? 2019. I'll find it. Excuse me for taking so long. Just give me a second.
No, it's good. I think I think that would be 18 or 19. Yeah, okay. 18 through 19.
Hold on, see, I'm not going to show you. Look, I'm going to show you all the footage of everything that we prepare. Exclusive. 1 second. I will look for it and I will show you.
No,
so these
take your
people
time.
that say that, and it upsets me because I know what he uses a specific glove, Puffin gloves. They're the gloves he uses. And by the way, can I also say, well, I've got this picture up. I knew Tyson was going to drop Wilder with a body shot. If you look at this picture, He was
Right.
working on that show. And I'm going to show you a video of about he used to fix these gloves. It really upsets me to do that. Some Wilder bomb channels. Listen, fans are obviously upset because the way Wilder was dismantled. And can I also say, while I've got you, please,
No, it's fine.
Deontay Wilder is Deontay Wilder is one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet. He's a gentleman. But the bronze bomber, oh, different story.
Yeah, it's his alter ego. And I didn't know he pissed off Tyson Fury when he revealed his alter ego to the Gypsy King.
Listen, we all know what happened before. We all know what happened at the end. The bottom. Okay, hold on.
See, yeah, he's going to the body. Yeah, he's going to the body with that left uppercut to the body. I see him working on that shot. Yeah,
Yep.
that's that
So it's not
inside
like
game.
it was
That's the inside game he was working on.
People don't realize
Yeah, it
just
wasn't a
how
random
hard
shot.
Tyson hit.
Right.
Tyson hit incredibly hard. I know. I'm 1920 stone with a bodysuit on, an extra large bodysuit, and Tyson cracked my ribs. I couldn't breathe. I knew then he was ready. So I'm just looking for these pictures. One second. I'll get them. I've got tens of thousands of pictures of videos and.
No, that's fine. Take your time. This is not a hurry. This is not a contest. We got time to unwind, to counterpunch. That's why we're here.
I like this.
I'm pretty sure all the Wilder fans won't be liking this. Trust me. Bloody bomb channels.
Hold on one second. I've got the videos. I've got all the videos in the changing room. I'm going to show it you. Before the Wilder fight. While the official, now ESPN trying to get the video off me. No, just so they can send it. And I said, listen, I ain't sending nothing to nobody. But I'm going to show it you.
Okay. And this is the first fight, right?
This is the first fight.
Right. So for everybody, we're about to watch footage of the first fight, how the gloves were conducted, so it can clear up any rumors or, hey, the glove was floppy and it was floppy due to tampering and things of that nature. We are about to see what Coach Askey is going to show us that sums it all up, that clears it all up.
So I got loads of footage. You can see, loads of. I'm still here. Okay, now watch this.
Okay.
Can you see that? Oh, how does it work?
Yeah, move it to your, I think, left. Yeah, I see it now. You gotta hold it. Yeah, that's where they're looking at the gloves. They got the camera on the gloves. Where's the representative for Wilder, just for clarification? Who the hell is that
I'll pause it right
back there?
One second, I'll get it, yeah. Right there, you see, right there. Hold on. This is Jay right there with the official watching. If you look carefully.
Okay. Move it to, yeah, move it over a little bit. Yeah. Right. Okay. So is that Frank Warren? I see the back
Well,
of
look there, look
Ben
there, look right
Davison.
there. Who's next to him?
Yeah, it's kind
Wilder's
of, wait a
trainer.
minute. Oh, okay. That's him with the towel over his back.
Yes.
Move it over to the left a little. Your left. No. Yeah. Your left. Yeah. Keep going because it's kind of got a glare. Okay. Yeah, it's
Oh shit, my battery died. You know what? I'm gonna send it you.
yeah. Send it to me and just inbox it. It's cool. But
And then we,
yeah, but it shows that JD's was also there.
there you go. Now you ask yourself, no, if you send your representative into the other side to check, shouldn't you be man enough to say, no, we checked, or we fucked up and we didn't check properly, or whatever? Are you accusing the LA Commission of making a mistake that was witnessed live on camera, witnessed by so many people in the room? And this one person was to say they were tampering with the gloves, and then the gloves he brought up were some flimsy gloves. The gloves he uses are puffin gloves. They're the
Right.
gloves he always uses. I will forward you the evidence. Remember,
Okay.
it don't benefit me. It don't benefit me whether he did or he didn't, but I'll always speak the truth because Tyson deserves all the credit for whatever he's been through to be number one in the world and the hard work he's put in. The man deserves the credit. The better man won, and again, I'll never slate Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder is one of the nicest people I've come across. And sometimes it takes a warrior because you genuinely believe you're the best in the world. So you've got to look for every excuse to blame, to justify, and to reignite that belief that you're the best. Oh, it was the glove. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was the suit. Oh, whatever. Now, let me explain it to you after the first fight. Now, watch the first fight again. When the bell went, the head coach's assistant, is it Mark? Not Mark. Is it Mark Breland? Mark.
Well, it's supposed to be JD's, but I mean, Mark Breland is actually the one that knows more about boxing per se than JD's
Okay.
because he is like a manager.
Okay. A lot of people miss this. As soon as the bell went, before 5 seconds before the bell went, he walks off and storms off to the changing room. Watch the fight. You see where I'm coming from? Now, we can all blame whoever. We can blame Diaz. We can blame whoever. The bottom line, he was humiliated. He was beaten by Tyson Fury. Now, and I find this very rich coming from Team Wilder, simply because of this. Remember when he beat Stiverne?
Right.
What did Stiverne? Look, watch the interviews. What did he say? My legs were light. They tampered with my drink. I felt dizzy. Something wasn't right. And people forget that.
Yeah, I forgot all about it. I mean, it really didn't matter because he got beat up. I didn't give it any energy. So,
And did this not happen again? So the tables have turned back on Wilder's team. Can they not just accept the better man won? Now, Wilder's team had the chance to have a third match. But all this speculation and accusations and whatever, and it turned out he didn't even want the fight. Why wouldn't Tyson want the fight? Of course Tyson wants a fight. He's already beat him twice. A third time's an extra payday. And he gave him the chance, but he didn't want to take it.
yeah, the intermittent or the kind of wishy-washy way he would answer, oh, am I training? Am I not training? Yeah, I remember that.
Can I go back to what this person caught in catch of you saying Jay Diaz is a trash trainer? Now let me make this clear. Jay Diaz is a fantastic trainer. He's trained the heavyweight champion of the world. You don't do that if you're a trash trainer. The better man won the fight. Accept it. You're talking a man with limited experience. He wasn't a boxing pedigree that started from the bottom. He turned to boxing because he had to. He had a poorly daughter. He fought to earn money so he could put food on his table and to make sure his daughter could get the best medication possible. So you've got to give Jay Diaz all the credit in the world because he got him to the top. End of.
Well, to counter that though, Jay Diaz, he comes off like a nice guy. Comes off like a really nice guy. Like I've always said, you could have a beer with him. He looks like a nice, sociable guy and everything. And I think him and Deontay Wilder have a great relationship. Now, the problem I have with Jay Diaz, the question would be, if he's seen all this stuff, then like you just said, it could take just a 5-minute statement, if that, to show that, hey, there was no wrongdoing about the gloves. And because I was the one that was set in both fights to check the gloves, why couldn't he do that?
Because when you join certain levels of boxers, you sign a declaration that you can't speak what goes on or off about the fight publicly. Maybe he's got a template where he can't speak.
Well, I mean, I understand what goes on in training camp because that's supposed to stay there for confidentiality and the trainers and the sparring partners. And, yes, that's a level of integrity all by itself. What's going on in training stays in training. But this has everything to do with what's in the public eye. It was 10, 15 people back there. But he was in charge of watching and searching and inspecting the gloves and the wraps like they're supposed to. I don't see why he couldn't just, hey, nothing was wrong with that. I did my job. Well, okay. For shits and giggles, he could at least done it for himself because that includes him. Just like Javon Sugar Hill came on and said, hey, I did my job. Just like you said, you did your job in the first fight. You made sure, well, these guys, and this happened this way it was. He made sure JD's was there, these things, and you prepared the gloves in between those sessions. So you are in control of that. So that includes you. So you're making sure that you're in the clear, right? Am I wrong? I got something wrong?
No, morally you'll do that. But when you're contracted, you've got to keep silent because controversial sells. It's a business. Now, the only person that never signed a confidentiality form was me. I didn't and I was there. Now, people talk about cheating, but I could talk about Wilder's cheats or attempted cheats they tried. I was there, from the cannabis in the changing room to bloody the ring canvas to everything you name. I remember because I was there. Now, they don't talk about when we was in the changing room and the fumes of cannabis was coming in. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the 35 to 50 so-called Showtime workers in and out the changing room. They didn't talk about the canvas that needed to be changed because they had it spongy, that thick, that we says, hold on, what's this? We made him change the canvas. They didn't talk about that, did they? They didn't talk about when you're in the corner and they had this so-called cameraman that wouldn't let us near the corner because they was there and they were pushing us out the way, kicking our drinks over. They didn't mention that, did they? The fake security guard.
The fake security what?
Where there's the so-called security man that's standing there that's just working for them, just eyeing everything up. When you go to the corner, look at the corner of the videos where they've got all the cameramen where we're supposed to be. Now, we're telling the officials, but they're not doing anything. So we knew we were in for a long-ass day. But because of our experience, listen, we didn't just step into the game. We've been through this year after year after year at high level. We've been there since Klitschko. So from 2015, we've been at the levels. We knew every trick that we're going to play. Nothing new to us. And that's what you do when you're at that level. You employ the best of the best because you're talking about millions. You're talking about heavyweight title. You're talking about so much income for so many people. You can't skip corners at this level.
So that memory foam, that's the same type of tactic that Vladimir Klitschko tried to pull on Tyson Fury before, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Gotcha.
And so we've gone there now. We thought, okay, you touch the end surface, closer to the ring, out the ring, and it's okay. But no, you jump out, you go inside the ring. You think, hold on, it's getting a bit thicker and thicker and thicker. And it was that thick. We said, hold on, change this. And I thought, you sneaky people, you're trying every trick in the book. I've got the video somewhere. I've got to show you the video. I've
Right,
got another
right.
phone.
So, okay, so we had the memory foam, we had you say cannabis. So you smelled cannabis in the locker room. You smelled weed in the locker room.
Absolutely. We're in the changing room and it's stinking of weed. I'm thinking, where's all these fumes? I'm thinking, this is feeling a bit funny here. Now the security man's looking at me thinking I'm smoking weed. I'm looking at the security man thinking, you're smoking weed. Thinking the fumes are a bit high. And next thing you know, Frank Warren walks in and says, okay, lads, which one are you smoking weed? Bluntly, the last says, what are you on about? Then we follow the smell. Obviously, you follow it, and it was coming out an air vent. And I thought, you're terrible. You're terrible. They had cannabis fumes coming through an air vent where we had to change the original room we were in. That wasn't our room that they allocated. We changed it.
Smash the like button, fans. Smash the like button.
Yeah, so okay. Other than that, you said they had what other the ring these fake security guards.
So-called security guards that weren't even security guards, that were there just to see what we was doing, to upset what we was doing, to trample on our feet as we're walking towards the ring, to kick over our water bottles. We couldn't trust anything that they were doing because everyone was fake. So we had to make sure we moved. We had to hire our own security to make sure nobody could come in.
So okay, when the spike water bottle, because a lot of the accusations were the narrative was Tyson Fury turned down a bottle of water because Andy
Yeah.
Lee offered him some. He asked where it come from, and I guess Andy Lee said something from wherever, and he didn't want it. So is that one of the same things?
Yeah, that was after. They learned from Armstrong. Look, we learned from Klitschko's days, don't trust any water. The golden rule we've always had and was never to touch any water that one of your trusted people have held. Now, if anybody's took their eye off that water gets binned. You do not touch any water that you haven't put, you guarded yourself. Now, look at this video. Look at this video. Hold on, have we got this right? Okay.
Okay, let me see. Go farther. Go closer to the camera. Okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
the canvas.
That's the canvas. They had that foam on top of that floor, and we had to get it changed. We took the. I'll let it play. Again, all this I'll send to you so you can see it for yourself. Obviously, because we can't load up because the reception or whatever, but I'll send it all to you. So Team Wilder, they did their tactics. They had their dirty games, but we didn't moan. We just made sure we dealt with it because after the fight, nothing matters. You can't make excuses. It's our job as a team to make sure that every trick that the opposition pulls, we're on point.
It says you may be right. I don't know Jay can say or not. I personally just don't have the ability to see someone on TV and say they're a bad person. Well, I mean, you just have to have proof of such. Wayne Fitness said 3 layers. So they had 3 layers on that canvas before in the first fight, of course, of trying to.
Nobody was.
Wow. But I mean, that was nullified. That's a tactic. So that's a little trick that they try. So to keep, because they knew Tyson Fury was going to move.
Yeah, listen, and he also sends you the camera team, always pestering you, and you've got to be better than that. That's why we moved away from certain things and we isolated ourselves. In that level, it's every advantage possible. You can't hate the opposition because that's the name of the game. It's to get as much advantage as possible. And I'm sure Team Canelo are going to try it. I'm sure Team Billy Joe are going to try it. Whoever's going to try it. See, Isaac Lowe, he was there. Big up Isaac. Now, let me tell you about my boy Isaac Lowe. Let me tell you, this young man is going to be world champion. I seen Isaac Lowe at the Mayweather gym beat up the reigning WBO two bantamweight champion. I seen in my own eyes Isaac Lowe beat him up. And if you look at his record, 3 draws. Why would he give him draws when he beat up them people? He will be world champion. So big up Isaac Lowe. Remember him. Trust me, he will be world champion. And I don't care if he don't become world champion, because that day at the Mayweathers, when it was all heated up and they were saying, don't let this white boy do this, don't let this white boy do that, the same
Really?
white boy beat him up. So there's going to be
Hey,
2
well,
world champions from Morecambe. The Westgate Warrior, Mr. Isaac Lowe, a.k.a. Turbo. So remember that name, Isaac Lowe. He's coming back to America, and he will be world champion.
Solid.
Isaac Lowe, counterpunch to you, brother. I hope all is well.
Get behind Isaac Lowe. Trust me.
Isaac Lowe. Hey, well, he's
People,
archived.
all the people at Mayweather's gym seen it that day. And when I say to you, it was a proper doghouse fight. And our boy Isaac Lowe represented. I was that emotional. I was like, near where you don't want to come to tears, but you're that buzzing for the guy because he represented. We was the Team Fury at Team Mayweather's, and we walked out with our head up high. Go on, Isaac.
Counterpunch to Max Waller. Adam Skill, when you accuse people of cheating, make sure your own house is in order. Shows Wilder's camp knows their own tricks best. So, what other things did they try that you want to discuss and get out there to the public to let people know, the audience, about all this stuff?
Listen, the biggest cheat they've ever pulled is the accusations of the gloves, the suit, the legs, the this, the that, the water, Mark Breland, whatever. The cheat was you didn't admit the better man won. Tyson Fury beat Wilder fair and square. Tyson didn't moan about the first fight. It was what it was. You hear him at the end of the fight. You know what? It is what it is. It was it. We'll get him on the rematch. And look at the rematch. He whooped his ass. He took it back from the 12th round. The rematch, Tyson showed what I've always known he could. He stopped Deontay Wilder. People don't understand how strong Tyson Fury is. I flipping know. I'm, like I said, 18 to 20 stone. This man broke my ribs, and I was wearing a protected suit, and I felt every single punch. When I say to you, he's never had to rely on his power because he's got phenomenal movement, phenomenal speed, phenomenal ring craft, unbelievably fast. But when he had to take it, he didn't rely on the judges again. It was obvious what he was going to do. He was going to stop him. And I'm telling everybody to this day, live on your show, he's going to knock Anthony Joshua out.
Boom.
For me personally, I would love for Tyson to walk away from boxing after that. He's got nothing else to prove. For me, he's already proven it. He's already proven he's the best. But in case there's a small percentage of naysayers that believe AJ is the man, and take nothing away from AJ, he's doing his business, he looks the part, he's the face of whatever boxing. Well, not no more, Tyson Fury is. But Tyson Fury will end all doubts, and I wish he walks away from boxing because he's a good man, he's proven it. And I've seen the struggle that this man's been through. And you know what I rate about Tyson Fury? From the moment he beat Klitschko, he gave praise to the Almighty. He gave praise to his Savior, Jesus Christ. Peace be upon him. Every time, every point of victory, whether it was good, whether it was bad, he always trusted in his Savior, Jesus Christ, his Savior. Peace be upon him. So you've got to give Tyson, a man of faith, that credit. Because a lot of people are distracted or swayed by fame, fortune, or whatever. Not Tyson Fury. He's got a great team around him. He's kept level-headed. And you've got to give that man credit. So Team Wilder and all his fans or whatever, shame on you for not giving the real king his credit, because he beat you fair and square.
Okay. Now, we have went to a new realm because we mentioned the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua, and you claim with your counterpunch that Tyson Fury will beat Anthony Joshua. Now, the question for you is how? What way?
Mauls him.
Mauls him.
From round one, from the first round, straight in there, mauls him.
Mauls him. So you think he's basically going to do a continuation, or should I say a redo of what he did with Deontay Wilder?
If he wants to. He could make it boring. He could just box his head off and have an easy payday. But I think Tyson wants to beat up AJ. I think he just wants to beat him up and just get on with it and probably watch, I don't know, a movie at the end of it, because Tyson is that good. People just fail to understand. You're talking a unique specimen. You're talking a once-in-a-lifetime, a special boxer. You don't be 19 plus stone, 6'9", and move the way you move. You don't get knocked out by Deontay Wilder. Let's move straight. He was knocked out. To get back up, to then beat up Wilder. You don't do that. You don't win the heavyweight title in 2015, balloon up to 30 stones, trying to kill yourself, and come back. And after 2 fights, challenge Deontay Wilder for the WBC belt. That is a unique guy, and that itself shows me he's one of the greatest ever and the greatest of our generation.
Okay, so you said he's going to do, or he can, if he chooses to, maul
exactly
Deontay Wilder like he did Deontay Wilder.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to this agency. He goes, yeah, he's biased. What's your point? What do you mean? I'm biased. How am I biased? I'm not in Sugar Hill's team. Sugar Hill's Tyson's got his new team. So why would I be biased? It doesn't benefit me by me favoring Tyson. It doesn't benefit me by me talking about Isaac Lowe. I can only talk to you by what I see and I witnessed. For me, Isaac Lowe went to Mayweather and beat the shit out of the current WBO super bantamweight champion's ass. I was there. You understand? And I'm telling you, I see what Tyson Fury's done and what he's capable of. If Tyson Fury was shit, I'd say he's shit. He should retire now. But no, he's got one more person to silence, because there's that much naysayers out there that think that AJ is the best. This ain't about the belts. The belts mean nothing. What means everything is the lineal status, the man that beat the man. And that man is Tyson Fury. And there's only one man left to challenge, and that'll be AJ. But I think it'll be a career best performance by Tyson, because AJ is tailor-made for Tyson to look spectacular.
So before we get to Tony Lyons, you think that Tyson Fury should retire after he fights the saga with Anthony Joshua? And on top of that, John Fury wanted Tyson Fury to retire after the first Wilder fight, if you can remember that. Why do you think he wanted him to retire at that point?
He's a father. And now, listen, let's just talk how any normal man. Would you rush your boxer having to lose from 30 stones to the weight he was, to have a return fight, then to fight a second fight, then to challenge for the heavyweight title? As a father, you think it's too soon. Any normal man would say it's too soon. But Tyson Fury himself, no one else believed it. Now, people forget, Deontay Wilder was offered a lot of money to have this fight. Deontay Wilder tried to persuade AJ to take this fight. Proof was in the bank. The money was there to take the fight against Wilder. AJ pulled out. AJ refused to take it. He needed a big name. He thought Tyson was over the hill. He thought, now's the time to shut up this Gypsy King, and now's the time to do it. Tyson Fury thought, no problem. You said you need it for your family, for the medicals or whatever. No problem. Let's do it. Let's dance. Forgetting, Tyson rises to the occasion. Tyson Fury, even at 20, 30 stones, was coming back, sparring world-level guys, even when he was off his head, come back and he was beating him up. You cannot take the skills of Tyson Fury away from him. Even at 30 stones, he was dancing around. So Wilder tried to manipulate Fury, but backfired. They realized the Gypsy King was for real. Everything Tyson Fury said, he did. Okay, what's this? Tony Lyons. Who has Fury really beat, huh? Okay. When AJ beat Vladimir Klitschko, everybody was jumping up and down, yeah? Well, Tyson Fury went to the Lion's Den in 2015 when Vladimir Klitschko had a 10-year unbeaten reign. He beat his ass, didn't he? That's one person. He beat, at that time, an undefeated peak Derek Chisora, who claimed the British, the European, and the Commonwealth title. And look what Derek Chisora is doing today. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the WBA number 2 in the world, Christian Hammer. He beat him. But I can give you names all day. Who is the hardest hitting heavyweight of all time? And you're talking Deontay Wilder. No, well, yes. Because you know your boxing, sir. Salute you for that. And I'm glad you mentioned him. But we're talking Tyson beat the man that everyone thought was the man. But the man is Tyson Fury, the man that beat the man who was Vladimir Klitschko. So don't tell me about names. And,
okay, Charlie Dory. If Tyson retires, he can get depressed. Let him continue. Okay. What do you think about that?
Listen, back then he didn't have the kids he had now. Now he didn't have the ambition he had then. The media, the world turned on him. You as a kid dreamt of winning the world title, having all the fame, all the money, all the glamour. And he didn't get that when he beat Klitschko. But now the tables have turned. He's known all over the world, loved by so many, helped so many, did the whole mental health way, inspired so many. Now he's got a reason, a purpose in life. He could go around meeting people, helping people. He's opened the Tyson Fury Foundation. He's going to have an academy for everything. So now Tyson's got more to work towards. Use his God-given talent for the purpose it was. Spread the word of Christianity, which he did, or spread the word of help people with mental health issues. Now Tyson's got a purpose. He don't need to continue, in my opinion. Now Tyson's one of them guys. Well, I'll have 5 probably more fights and retire. Or Tyson will just keep going until someone does beat him. But whatever Tyson Fury does, you can only get behind him and believe what he says. But for me, after he beats AJ, I prefer him to beat him once, give the man a chance to have a rematch, beat him again, and walk away from it.
Well, you have Troy Graham. He says, let's be honest, Fury is only known for 2 fights.
Tell me the fights, Troy. Tell me the fight, Troy. Okay, stop. Tell me the fights Muhammad Ali's known for. Obviously, Rumble in the Jungle.
Right.
Then we got the Fraser fight.
Yeah, for Fraser. Well, Ali, Fraser, Foreman, Liston.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Norton. Then you had Norton, Spinks, Shavers.
Yeah, but these are fights that the casuals. I'm talking about the casuals. I'm talking about the casuals that recognize.
Well, the top 3 we mentioned.
You can only beat who's ever presented in front of you. Okay? Who else is there out there? You can see it's Tyson Fury chasing them, not them chasing Tyson Fury. When Tyson Fury was 30 stones plus, They was all shouting out Tyson Fury. When Tyson Fury beat all the odds and came back, who's chasing who now? Who's chasing who? Tyson Fury wants them all. Dillian White was out there, but Dillian White unfortunately lost to Povetkin. That would have been a good fight. AJ was looking like the man. So he got sported out by your man up in Ruiz. So who else is there? We thought there was something exciting about Usyk. Who's proven to be too small? Who else is there out there that can give Tyson Fury a problem?
Who was too small? I didn't hear you. Who you were regarding to as too small? Usyk. What do you think about Usyk? You think Usyk's too small for Fury?
Yeah, I think he struggled with someone like Chisora. He won the fight, but the super heavyweights, and we're talking the super heavyweights now, they will maul him. They'll just drain him and maul him. And I think he's too short. You know, you're not unique like someone like Mike Tyson, who was 5'11", who could dip and dive and throw bombs.
Right.
Take nothing away from Usyk, a cruiserweight king, but I think the heavyweight division's not for him, Coach Joyce.
How tall is Usyk? What, 6'3"?
6'2", isn't he?
I think he was a little taller than 6'2". He might be 6'3" at best.
Well, I'm just touching 6 foot. He wasn't as tall as me.
Okay.
That much. He wasn't that. You know, when you stand next to people like Tyson Fury, they're big.
So, what would you say about Otto Wallin? Because Otto Wallin gave Tyson Fury a pretty tough run for his money,
Otto Wallin.
And he wasn't that big.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned Otto Wallin.
Mm-hmm.
Otto Wallin,
another southpaw,
Tyson.
Mind you.
Otto Wallin cut Tyson, but who was winning every round comfortably?
Well, Tyson won the majority of the rounds anyway. I think it was a struggle.
No, it was a struggle because
Tyson to me looked over.
He looked what?
He looked overtrained to me. He looked overtrained.
Possibly was, possibly wasn't. But the bottom line is he didn't lose he wasn't losing a single round. So if anybody wants to jump on the Otto Wallin, let's talk about the time when Muhammad Ali was dropped in his 5th professional fight. Does that mean anything? Let's talk about when Muhammad Ali was dropped by Henry Cooper. Does that mean anything? You could also talk about this, that, the other. Let's just talk about what's presented in front of us. 2021.
You don't think Otto Wallin won a round in that fight?
No.
You wouldn't have gave him any rounds as being a judge in that fight?
Last round, possibly. And that's just a man trying to survive. That's just a man being very protective, just so the judges don't have an excuse to rob Tyson, to stop the fight premature, because they know that Tyson Fury, beat Wilder in the first fight. Why, they probably look for an excuse. They knew Tyson Fury is the real deal and is a threat. So if he loses by a technical stoppage or whatever, then that fight's in the air. Now let's just make it simple. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is, who is the lineal champion of the world? Tyson Fury.
Okay. So, in your opinion, you don't think Usyk could do a better or equal or better job than Otto Wallin did in that fight? You think the cut was the thing that distracted Fury, because Fury was winning anyway, right? So the cuts really didn't have anything to do with it, with just visual effects. So do you think that replace Usyk in there with Otto Wallin? You think he couldn't compete with someone like Fury because of his size?
Possibly could, yeah, of course could. But I'm talking, you can't talk about then compared to what you talk about now. Now, Otto Wallin looked messy because of the cut. And as much as you want to say it another way, Tyson wasn't losing around. You can even hear him shout, "I live for this shit." And I can understand what you're saying. What if Usyk was there? But then that's like saying if, you could talk about what if Muhammad Ali was there? You could talk about anything. You can always say could have, should have, whatever. But you've got to look at what are we presented with today.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is, you mentioned Muhammad Ali, but then the counter Muhammad he's gone, long gone. But Usyk is here and alive and well. So if Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua, like you claim, there's life after the Joshua fight to me in my eyes. So who else is
Hold
left?
it, hold it,
Ruiz?
hold it, hold it right
Usyk?
there. Hold it right there. Let Usyk worry about the juggernaut. Let's worry about the juggernaut before we can determine anything.
Ah, okay. So what do you think about that fight then? We mentioned Juggernaut for a possible opponent for Usyk, that's in the plan anyway. So
No, that's set.
who do
That's
you think?
happening. That fight's
Okay, that's
happening.
happening. That's definitely happening. So it's in the books to happen. Okay, let me
Yeah.
rephrase. It's in the books to happen. It's on the books to get made. So
And I
what do
believe,
you call that fight?
I believe Usyk gets stopped.
Usyk gets stopped by Joe Joyce. How and
Joe
why?
Joyce, because Joe Joyce is he's relentless. He'll come at you, and people think, oh, he's a bit slow. Many people thought he was slow, but he keeps winning and winning. And he'll start from the round 1 to round 12, and he'll put that much pressure on you. You can hit him with a sledgehammer. Joyce ain't going anywhere. Daniel Bois tried it. Look what happened. He will destroy Usyk. Mark my word. And
So
bear in mind, at 6'7", you see all the backflips and somersaults that this Joe Joyce does. His
yeah, yeah,
work rate is
yeah,
unbelievable.
he's a very mobile
His work
guy. I see
rate.
him. He does the capoeira,
And
low hand cartwheel. Yeah, yeah, he does that because he's trained other things too. That's very impressive coming from a big guy like Joe Joyce. But what did you
listen,
think when
it'll be an interesting fight. All questions are in the air with them two. All questions are
right?
in the air and they'll be answered when they're two-faced. Can Joe Joyce maintain the skill set of Usyk? Can Usyk maintain and stand strong against someone who is as strong and heavy as Joe Joyce? This will then answer a lot of questions moving forward. So all this theory about Usyk's too small will be answered. Well, he's handled Joe Joyce. You've seen what Joe Joyce has done. He's proven it in the amateurs. He's proven it in the pro game. He's fought some. Look at the people and caliber of opponents Joe Joyce has fought that dare to fight. No one would have dreamt of fighting them people in their debuts and moving on. But who was it? It was Ian. Oh, what was it? What's his name? So many people he fought. Even fought Stavern. And this is the guy that everyone thought was too slow. Then he fought people, people gave him no chance. I think the Juggernaut will beat Usyk. That's my opinion.
Okay.
But
He
I'm a massive
you said
I'm a massive Usyk fan. I love his work.
so you think they'll fight twice?
No, once.
Once? Okay.
Yeah.
Strangingness. The point with Wallen is if Fury wasn't such a big name, he'd have lost despite how courageous his performance was. A lot different than being dropped.
Okay, strangeness. I'm going to say something to you. I hope you understand this. If my grandma had a dick, she'd be my granddad, wouldn't she? You understand the saying? We could say if. I'm not interested in ifs. I'm interested in what's presented to us right now. Who's the king of the castle? Tyson Fury. End of. Fuck Wallin. Fuck AJ. Fuck them all. Not really. Excuse me for swearing in your street.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. No, speak your mind.
Sorry, man.
So Tyson is the only legitimate king.
Yes. And when I say legitimate, I don't believe in this alphabetical promotional belts, the WBA, IBF, or whatever. The main title is the man that beat the man, the lineal status, the lineal title. That is held by the man that beat the man, Tyson Fury. He beat Vladimir Klitschko. That is all that matters. Nobody's been Tyson since. So, and it'll go on for it's been on for decades, and it'll go on for hundreds of years to come. That status will always be there.
Okay, well, here's the counter to that. He did beat Vladimir Klitschko. He dethroned the reigning and defending king at the time, the czar, so to speak. But he didn't fight him again. And he didn't defend those unified channels, those unified titles, which they meant something because he took them from Vladimir Klitschko. Are you saying those belts meant nothing that Vladimir Klitschko had and reigned? And then when Tyson Fury got it because he was the man to beat the man, that's all that matters.
See, Tyson always wanted to fight Vladimir Klitschko. It was never about the belts. It was about who the man was. The man at that time was Klitschko. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you would have had a rematch if it was there, but he went through a lot of mental health issues, which everybody knows about. And people talk about he never defended his belt. But let's just hold it right there.
Right.
Let's talk about when Tyson fought Wilder. Who should have been the world champion? Tyson Fury. So, argument's sake, he would have had a rematch with Wilder, which he did. Who got his ass whooped? Deontay Wilder. You understand? So he's not defended his belt. You know the politics. Your boy AJ, your boy flipping Wilder, whoever you want to say, they've all had the chance to have a rematch. Vladimir Klitschko had a chance. Whatever politics they were coming out with, or whatever happened. Let's talk about 2021, AJ Fury. Then we'll see, all questions answered, who the man is. We all know who the man is, but let's officially cement it.
Okay, so my next question is, since Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko and Vladimir Klitschko didn't get the opportunity to avenge that particular defeat because of the mental issues, the health, and this, that, and the other. Now, would you think, since he didn't fight after that because he went through these problems, and you got a guy by the name of Anthony Joshua, not only did the same thing, but stopped and retired with Vladimir Klitschko, he doesn't get any piece of that torch that Tyson Fury has just because he was the first to do it?
Okay, let me give you an example. I go to the local pub on a Saturday night. There's 30 drunks there.
Right.
Legless, old men. And I knock them all out. I have a record of knocking 30 people out. Does that mean I'm the world champion?
No.
Does it mean anything?
No.
So go back to what you said. Does it mean anything?
Did Anthony Joshua beat Vladimir Klitschko?
Hold on. Beating an old man. Does it mean anything?
It depends on the condition of the old man.
The old man was an old man. Had already been beaten by Tyson Fury 2 years before that, and had been inactive for 2 years. And they brought Vladimir Klitschko to their hometown in London. Now, we all know Vladimir kicked the shit out of AJ, but age caught up with him. Because you know AJ was on the verge of gone. He was finished. And Vladimir just stopped. Age caught up with him. So if you want to take that as an accolade, or listen, it was a fantastic fight, by the way. But if you want to take that as any accolade, fair play to you. If you want to pretend to yourself you're the king of the castle, you're the number one, fair play to yourself. But at the end of the day, it's how well you sleep at night. Because every day, them thoughts in your mind tell you, oh, that guy's really good. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ's got a poster of Tyson Fury on his wall. Hey, kids, that's the champion of the world, Tyson Fury, man. He loves boxing. He's a boxing fan. He's going to love the best. And the best is Tyson Fury. So we can all say this, that, and the other. But please, don't compare Tyson Fury's amazing victory in 2015 in Dusseldorf to AJ's beating of an old man, already beaten Vladimir Klitschko, who held no belts 2 years after being beaten. Please.
Well, I'm going to say this. Let me counterpunch.
I put that in the same category as when AJ beat Joseph Parker for the IBF belt.
Okay.
Not Joseph Parker, Charles Martin.
Okay. So what
Again,
was about Charles Martin?
No, you talked about AJ beating Vladimir Klitschko, yeah?
Right.
And I'm saying I put that in the same category as when AJ beat Charles Martin.
So there's no difference to you.
So for me, it's about you beat whoever's presented in front of you. So I always say this. You can always talk about levels of opponent, levels of whatever. It doesn't matter. It's about whoever you beat in front of you. I'm saying the stories from yesterday don't mean shit. The bottom line is who's at the top. Some claim AJ, the rest claim Tyson. At the end of the day, 2021, we'll find out. This is what it's all about. I'm just saying to you, if I had to put my life on it, I'll put it on Tyson Fury. If I had to put my kids' lives on it, I'd put it on Tyson Fury. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Right. Definitely. So,
okay, hold on. Let's go
Vladimir
to
Klitschko
Dion.
when he was beaten.
No. I've got to answer Dion's. Dion's wrote here, AJ has fought more top 10 ranked fighters. Yeah? Okay, stop. Let's talk about the top 15 boxer he fought, Andy Ruiz Jr. What happened? Have a day off, son. Have a day off. He's fought more top 10 ranked fighters. Well, congratulations to you, son. He got his ass whipped. Hold on. This man never said anything good about AJ. Let me tell you about Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is a great ambassador for boxing. He's won multiple alphabetical promotional belts. He's an Olympic gold medalist. You've got to give this man maximum credit. What I'm saying, we're talking about Tyson Fury or AJ. It's like talking about a shit kebab shop and a nice kebab shop. You're going to talk honestly, which is the best. Now, let me tell you this. AJ is very good. But we're talking the very good Tyson Fury. But Sean, I've got nothing against AJ. AJ is a phenomenal guy, inspirational guy. I've got a lot of respect for him. I salute the man. You can't knock him in any way. But I'm talking about the best, the very best, cream of the crop, Tyson Fury.
So when Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko 2 years before Anthony Joshua did, that made him obsolete after that point? Because that's 41 compared to 39. So you think he was a lot better at 39 or 41? Because I bet they're both considered old, because you see where I'm coming from? You have a guy like Kubrat Pulev. Let me finish. You got a guy like
I've got to stop you there. I've got to stop you there. Didn't earlier when you mentioned Martin Murray,
right?
And then you talked about Joe Saunders beating Martin Murray, and that Martin Murray had gone past his peak. But then you also talked about Martinez, who Martin Murray actually beat. So you got to understand, Martin Murray, you got to give his credit, yeah. But when Billy Joe Saunders fought him, he was past his peak, right? Agree. We all agree that, yeah.
Right.
But for Billy Joe Saunders, it was about momentum, getting that fight. Now you're talking about a guy that was inactive for 2 years after being beaten by Tyson Fury. You're talking about a guy that 2 years out of the ring, that had age, hadn't been taking his training serious, had come to the UK, tried to justify his greatness, but got his arse whooped. But before he got his arse whooped, was beating the shit out of AJ. And listen, I've got nothing against AJ. I generally haven't. But I'm just trying to tell you, if AJ was my fighter, if I was managing, training, whatever, I would avoid Tyson Fury at all costs, because I'm not in this game for money. I'm all about winning, and I don't think he'd beat Tyson Fury. That's just me.
Oh, duly noted. But the point I was trying to make is when Vladimir Klitschko, when he came back, he wasn't the same guy because of the inactivity. That's what you're saying.
I'm just saying the superior. Listen, the man that you thought that you was going to walk over, the so-called guy that he genuinely believed was a nobody. He believed Tyson Fury was just hype, beat your ass, whooped your ass, and it hit him. So remember, even to this day, Tyson Fury is living in Vladimir Klitschko's head because he wasn't mentally settled. So he came rushing to try and get a high-profile fight, thinking that there's something in AJ that he sees as very vulnerable, which I do. And he got beat, but he wasn't the best Vladimir Klitschko. Tyson Fury beat the best Vladimir Klitschko. The guy that was unbeaten in 10 years, had a 10-year unbeaten reign. I know what you're trying to say. I'm saying it was a good fight. Yes, you got to give AJ a lot of credit for that fight. He showed a lot of courage. But let's be honest.
He ran out of gas. He ran out of gas.
Exactly, man. exactly my point. So we can't talk about a guy. It's like talking about Larry Holmes beating Muhammad Ali. What does that mean?
No, I mean, not Vladimir ran out of gas. Joshua ran out of gas.
But Vladimir ran out of gas
When? In the fight
when he
with
dropped
AJ?
AJ. Yeah,
Nah.
he could have finished
Anthony
him.
Joshua was gassed. The fight that I saw, Anthony Joshua
Okay,
dropped him in the fifth. Vladimir Klitschko came back in the sixth and dropped him. Then Vladimir Klitschko baited him into the further rounds. He made a mistake. He let Anthony Joshua
gas
recover
out.
because Anthony Joshua was gassed. He didn't have anything. He was just
But
muscles.
Vladimir was gassed.
I don't think he was gassed. I think he was trying to bring him into the later rounds like the game plan implemented, and he paid for it because he gave that young guy chance to get that second win. And when he got that second win, he landed that huge uppercut in the 11th. That's my take on it. I think that Vladimir
Okay,
was beating him. I think he should have pressed the
okay.
gas, but you're saying he ran out of gas, right?
We can all have our opinion. Okay, let's just flip that and say Vladimir was unbelievable. He was phenomenal.
Okay.
You can say whatever, and AJ be a phenomenal fighter. We can all say that. But the bottom line is 2021, we're going to find out. And I'm telling you, he's going to stop AJ. I'm telling you, the best Tyson Fury will smash every single guy out there. And I'm not hyping this because Tyson, I like that. I'm just speaking the truth. You could talk about Vladimir Klitschko. You could talk about Deontay Wilder. You could talk about whoever you want to talk about. The bottom line, Tyson Fury has manned up and dared to face the so-called best.
Well, let's say
Can I answer Charlie Torres's? He goes, Vladimir was in top condition against AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's talk about Manny Pacquiao when he had his last fight and he got knocked out. Before he had the fight, he was in top condition. But sadly, age catches up. Does that make sense?
What are you talking? Now, when are you referring to? What knockout? You
Charlie
said Manny
Torres.
Pacquiao.
No, Charlie Torres is talking here. Vladimir was in top condition against AJ.
Right.
Every boxer is in top condition before they have their fight. That's why they're assessed. That's why the medical officers are doing their jobs. That's why they've been training. Of course you're in top condition, but at the end of the day, your age catches up with you.
Well, what I'm saying is you mentioned Manny Pacquiao. What did Manny Pacquiao have to do with this? Because, I mean, it's been a long time since he's been knocked out.
I'm giving an example of Manny Pacquiao when he had his fight against
Juan Manuel Marquez.
Okay, whoever. But he was in top condition before the fight. Physically, he looked great. But age caught up with him. Their resistance caught up with him. Vladimir Klitschko's resistance caught up with him. Pacquiao's resistance caught up with him. Physically, or mentally, you can say you're in top condition. But at the end of the day, it's like a glass. Keep tapping it, it'll crack eventually.
Well, as far as Manny Pacquiao goes, I think he was just beaten by the better fighter. I don't think anything was wrong with him. I don't think age caught up with him at all. I think he was younger than Floyd. Floyd was just able to beat him that night.
Okay. Good question. Good point. So you're telling me a peak Wilder, no, a peak Vladimir Klitschko and a peak AJ, who wins?
I picked Vladimir Klitschko to beat Anthony Joshua when they fought. I don't think that's really relevant because I didn't pick Anthony Joshua to win. I thought Anthony Joshua, being the younger guy, was going to lose to Vladimir Klitschko because he knew too much. He had too much. And according to Vladimir Klitschko, and let's talk about this for a minute, Vladimir Klitschko said that the layoff did him good because he wasn't training as much. Shout out to you, Dion, for the super chat. And the Tyson Fury fight, and Tyson Fury admitted this himself, that was a snooze fest. It wasn't a punishment that Vladimir took. He just got outboxed because I think he did underestimate Tyson Fury, just like Deontay Wilder did. So it was in two different situations where you had these guys thinking that he was a pushover and thought they were going to walk right through Tyson Fury. So would you agree that the element of surprise was best for Tyson Fury? And how would that contrast now since he has the momentum and he's not the underdog? How would you respond to that?
See, with Tyson, again, it's about the desire. I think it's about if he believes or he wants the challenge, I think he rises to the occasion. And I think before it was about rising to the occasion of Vladimir Klitschko is the man. This is the man that nobody can beat. So Tyson had that hunger, that desire. Now with Wilder, he was deemed as the man, that the hardest punching guy that was knocking everybody out. Everybody was too scared to fight. Again, it gave Tyson that desire, that want to beat the man that everyone thought was the man. Now with AJ, apart from AJ, who else is there that can challenge Tyson?
Okay, I'm glad you said that because we're getting on to another topic and we're going to talk about the time when they actually got in the ring together. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, when they got in the ring, and we heard what Tyson Fury said about Anthony Joshua when he was just an amateur, and Tyson Fury, of course, was a professional. What do you take on it?
Now, I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. Tyson Fury, and I've seen many world-level guys come to the gym and spar Tyson. And I've been there when Tyson's absolutely whooped their ass, absolutely schooled him, and in some occasions knocked him out. But
Right.
Tyson never, ever, ever talks ill of any fighter. He'll always say, this man's the best ever. This man beat me up. Do you see where I'm coming from? It's not in his nature.
Really? He didn't say that about
Listen,
Jarrell Miller. He didn't say that about Jarrell Miller. He said he knocked him down 7 times and sent him packing because he had no use for him. Counterpunch. He just said that. Matter of fact, it was a source today. I just did a video on it today. That's why I know. That's why it's fresh on the dome. He said that, what, Jarrell Miller, he's a bum. I had no use for him. I knocked him down 7 times. He said I knocked him down 7 times and sent him packing. He had no use for this guy.
Listen, that was in Bolton. That's when he came to the UK. But I know that Tyson and Miller are good friends. They were getting on in Vegas.
I'm pretty sure. But it didn't stop him from talking shit. It didn't stop him from talking shit, though.
Ali and Frazier talked shit, but they were the best of friends. At the end of the day, it's a business where you have to promote the other. But I can tell you what I've seen. I could tell you other guys that have come along, and Tyson would say, oh, this guy battered me. But I know he's beat the shit out of him. But he'll never, ever put anyone down. If he's talking shit of someone, he's just having a laugh. Tyson is a good man, clean heart, true gentleman. He's a proper man. If you be nice with him, he'll be nice with you. You take the piss, he'll take the piss back. I've seen guys turn up to the gym, and just a heartbeat, Tyson will go down and kick the fuck out of him. I've had it when people put it on Tyson in the Mayweather's gym, where they confronted him. You're just some white hype. This guy will beat you up. And Tyson goes, listen, come to the gym. And true to the words, they come to the gym. I've seen Tyson beat him up and drop him in round 1. Beat him up. But Tyson will never speak ill of anybody. So whatever he's saying about Miller, he's probably having a laugh.
Whoa.
But he did drop him. He did. No. He did beat up Miller. But he's only having banter about Miller. What I'm saying to you, when he talks about AJ beat him up. AJ didn't do nothing to him. They all know. AJ probably come out gun blazing for 1 round. Probably didn't catch Tyson. But everybody
He said
knows.
he got caught. He said he got uppercut and almost got knocked out. He said the uppercut got him knocked out, and if he would have had a chin like David Price, he would have been knocked out. That was his exact words.
Yeah. Exactly. But he was promoting AJ at that time.
Oh, well, why was he promoting AJ? He wasn't a professional
because
yet.
He was an up and coming fighter. You've seen what he says about Daniel Dubois. You've seen what he says about Joyce. I know what happened when Tyson sparred Daniel Dubois. I know what happens when Tyson spars Joyce. What Tyson does, Tyson keeps to himself.
Well,
so
you're right. He did say that. Yeah, you're right. He did mention that about Daniel Dubois.
You've said something now. Let's talk about it. You've talked about Tyson talking about AJ having a great punch or whatever. Nobody talks about how many times Anthony Joshua has been knocked out in sparring. But I'm a
Okay.
believer. Whatever happens in sparring happens. Whether somebody gets knocked out, it don't mean shit. Sparring is sparring to prepare you for the real world, so you don't get knocked out in the real game.
Wilder.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. It's not official. Absolutely, it's not official at all. Oh yeah, I know. Anthony Josh has been knocked out by Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois knocked him out. I mean, that's the rumor, but hey, that's what I hear. Did you hear that same thing?
I've heard one or two things, and I know one or two things.
Yeah, you heard it too. You heard it too. But the thing is, I think that styles make fights, and I think this is the reason why this fight is so spectacular. And I don't call a winner yet. Do you think the layoff for Fury, since he did get the Caballo fight, do you think that's going to be a disadvantage to him?
For Fury?
Yeah.
Man, listen, he's been training. He's on point. He treats each sparring session like it's a world title fight. But listen, what Tyson's doing right now, I don't know because I'm not around the circle at the moment. Tyson's got a new team. Sugar Hill's doing a phenomenal job, an incredible coach, a proven coach. So they're not gonna go all this way to look like fools. So they're gonna take everything serious.
Right.
Now the long layoff, you can say whatever you want to say. AJ's gonna have a long layoff. AJ's come off a beating, then beating the guy that he should have beaten, which is Andy Ruiz. Do you see my point? We can all say, what if this? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's for you to keep yourself busy. It's for you to keep yourself ready. It's for you to try and make fights happen. But that don't mean nothing. The bottom line is them two are going to face each other. Hopefully, Tyson gets a fight before the AJ fight. But whether or not he does, I don't know. But the fight's going to happen, and it's going to be a great fight. I just don't want to say too much where one of AJ's whatever hears it and says, whoa, let's avoid Tyson Fury. I want this fight to happen.
Well, I think those guys have a similar style. I think they have to continue what they started.
No, stop. Don't ever, sorry, I shouldn't tell you don't ever, but you cannot compare Tyson Fury's style to AJ's style.
How come? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. All right, fair play.
Hold on.
Can we compare Anthony Joshua's style to Deontay Wilder's style in comparison? What's the difference to you? No. Why not?
AJ's a good boxer. AJ's a good boxer.
And Deontay Wilder's not, right?
Deontay Wilder's a good puncher.
So, but you can't compare AJ to Fury. Why?
What's AJ got that's better than Fury?
Nothing that I have, but maybe punching power.
Proven
punch
by
placement.
What?
Punch power and punch placement.
Okay. Let's talk about Chris Lovejoy. 18-0, 18 fights, 18 first round knockouts. Does that mean anything?
Nope.
So you can't say about punch. Look at Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois had an amazing knockout ratio. But when he fought against a boxer, let's talk about whose boxing skills are more superior, Tyson Fury's or AJ's. Let's talk about boxing intelligence, Tyson Fury or AJ. Let's talk about speed, Tyson Fury, AJ. Let's talk about experience at that level. And you got to say, even Steven, let's talk about your last fight, Wilder. Let's talk about AJ's last fight with Ruiz. You got to talk about. See, AJ isn't giving out the right signals. We're still learning to throw a punch. What do you mean you're trying to learn to throw a punch? You're the heavyweight champion of the world. What do you mean you're trying to learn to swing a punch? Right now, it's all about game plans. At this level, it should be about game plans and strategy. But listen, I'm not interested in this.
Well, let me counter, though. Let me counter since you said learning how to punch. Javon Sugar Hill said he just taught Tyson Fury how to punch. He said he just taught him how to sit down on his punches because he wasn't doing that before he was with him.
Did I not show you the video? Did I not show you the video of me and Tyson? What shot was he working on?
The uppercut.
What shot did Deontay Wilder get dropped with?
Another,
What
well,
shot did
yeah,
I show you?
a hooker cut to the body, left hook to the body.
Listen, everyone can say whatever, and you got to full credit to Javan Sugar Hill. You got to give him his credit. At the end of the day, he did the job, and you got to salute him. Now, I'm just saying to you, at this level, at this magnitude of a fight, it's like I said, the hands can't hit what the eyes can't see. Tyson will be too fast for him. So there's no point practicing your punch when you ain't going to land him. You got to have a game plan. It's how to stop him from moving, how to slow him down, how to put your weight on him, how to take away everything that his advantages are. Anyway, forget what I'm saying. Let me tell you about another guy. His name, Josh Taylor. Do you know Josh Taylor?
I know JT. Let's do it.
Taylor.
Let's go.
He is a flipping nightmare to anyone. He will destroy anyone that dares to step into him. Now, I was a massive Lopez fan. I said from day one he beat Lomachenko.
Right.
But then when this man tried to call out Josh Taylor, it's career suicide. You want to leave people like Gervonta Davis alone. You want to leave people like Josh Taylor alone. You want to leave people like Crawford alone. You want to stay away from these monsters. I call them monsters. Well, Crawford, looking into it, I think Spence beats Crawford now. Looking into it. But let's talk about Josh Taylor. He will annihilate Ramirez. The options are there for whatever he wants to do. If Lopez dares to challenge Josh Taylor, he'll get ripped, shredded to bits. Josh Taylor is a natural born killer, cold-faced killer, pound for pound, number one in my eyes. This man is on a different planet. He's a flipping beast, a monster, carries immense power that people, until he hits you, you realize.
Well, yeah, I seen him with the war with Regis Prograis. That was an excellent fight. Very grueling fight. It showed heart between two fighters. He just was too big for Prograis, I think. Now, as far as Teofimo Lopez, you think Teofimo's too small for someone like Josh Taylor? Because Josh Taylor is a big junior welterweight.
No. Lopez is a very big man that makes weight. He's a very big guy that makes good weight. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. But we're talking about a monster. We're talking about a monster that can box. We're talking a monster that can give you death from the first second of the round to the last second of the 12th round. He's a monster.
So where do you see Josh Taylor, or when do you see Josh Taylor moving up to the welterweight division?
Well, I would have hoped he would have gone up to Crawford, but Crawford's obviously going up to Spence because it's all about fighting the best names out there. They're all top ranked fighters. Any of these fights can be made. But are top ranking all took their top fighters against each other? Don't think so. So the only fight I think there's other fights out there. The challenging fight. Well, he's got to fight Cattrall. He's mandatory now, isn't he? So after this fight, he's got to fight Cattrall. After Cattrall, possibly Lopez or Crawford, whoever's out there, whoever wants it. Either way. But me personally, after Ramirez, I would like to see him have the Prograis fight again. Because it was a great fight.
Oh, so you want to see a rematch between him and Prograis?
Absolutely. Because you got to give a real warrior's credit. Prograis is a warrior, he deserves a credit. And why not? Let the man make some money. Let him have some money. No, it's going to be a super fight. Both will make good money out of it. Leave the sport head high. Then build up your momentum again. Then fight whoever, Lopez or Crawford, whoever wants it.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think that I think definitely Josh Taylor and Prograis, I think that needs to do a redo because of the magnitude of the fight and what happened during the fight. They both had like a pair of matching twin swollen eyes. Thought that was very, very symbolic, but it just shows you what they were going through and what they were doing to each other. I like balance in fights.
I know. My man, I've got to leave it there, my man.
All right,
Got
brother.
nothing more
Hey,
to.
thank you for coming
No,
on.
no, 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 no. Remember this one name,
Bob Arum.
Mikey Lee. Remember
Mikey
this
Lee.
name from the UK, Mikey Lee. This
Mikey
kid
Lee.
is phenomenal.
We
Phenomenal.
will. It's been archived.
He is
It's in the
like
books. Mikey Lee. I
he's
won't
trained by
forget that
himself,
name.
trained by himself, and he will be somebody special. I've got to give a shout out to all the prospects lads. I've got to give a shout out to Ben Davison, Billy Joe Saunders team. I've got to listen, Lewis Edmondson, and remember this other name. Remember this name, Deontay Dixon.
Deontay Dixon. Okay.
He's managed by Billy Joe Saunders. This guy is the UK's version of Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis mixed. Add them
Wow.
together, you get Deontay Dixon. Remember that
Deontay
name.
Dixon. I will. Definitely. Definitely. Well, Coach
Listen,
Aggie,
thank you
thank you,
very
man.
much.
It's been a pleasure to bring you on the show. Thank you for coming on. We will
Respect,
meet again after this. We will talk more boxing. I love the counter punching back and forth. That's what we're here for. And you guys have been counter punched. Absolutely, man. Keep watching, and we'll see you soon.
God bless you, my man. Thank you very
God
much.
bless you.
Peace, man.
Appreciate you, brother. So there you have it, guys. The exclusive interview with the coach with the most. That's, trained Tyson Fury along with Billy Joe, Josh, and many more. Now, Middle Box Jay, what's up, brother? Counter punch to you. Marcy D, Philip Holleran. What's going on, guys? How we doing? How did you guys feel about that particular exclusive? This is the first time, of course, it was on this particular platform of StreamYard. So I just wanted to have you guys here present, and I'm going to try to make more like this. I'm going to bring Spencer on probably next week. I'll be abroad, but I can bring him on the show, and we can do many, many more of these. So you guys, those who won't catch it, tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. Peace.